My apologies for arriving for my dinner appointment at Serica an hour late were met at the entrance by Mauro Yap, the proprietor, with "Non si preoccupi, don't worry," proving instantly that he was a most gracious host. I felt at home immediately, even before he ushered me to my table. 6 days earlier, I had been delayed elsewhere due to a metro breakdown. This time, a sudden transport strike had stopped service on tram line number 9, already Milan's slowest tram line even when in operation, so I'd had to walk 45 minutes from my hotel. Taxis were, of course, nowhere to be seen. The proprietor's welcome and the interior of Serica exquisitely designed, down to the most minute detail, from the colors to the textures of the wallpaper, the floor tiles, table setting, flowers, and lighting, relaxed me faster than any incantation or potion could have done. Serica's cuisine concept focuses on creative dishes inspired by the Silk Road, refracted through Italian culinary traditions. Due to my delay, it was clear there wouldn't be enough time for me to enjoy the 10-dish tasting menu. That will have to wait for another visit. The menu is not set up according to the familiar antipasto primo secondo itinerary, but after some consultation with Mauro Yap, I had things sorted out. Mauro recommended a white Tuscan wine to begin with, a Bercio del Serica, made mostly from Vermentino and Trebbiano grapes. The name in Tuscan dialect means "scream of the miser" and refers to the terrain this wine stems from, a stingy parcel of not very fertile land, permitting great quality at the expense of quantity. An extravagant array of amuse-bouche was brought out, and the chef, Nicola Bonora, explained what they all were. I tried my best to take notes afterwards, but confess to missing quite a few details. The first was an iced goat's cheese foam, and I forgot all the other ingredients before the transcription. Sorry. This green item was made from edamame paste, to assume the shape of an edamame pod. It was filled with pickled soybeans and herbs. Next was a raviolo made from burnt grain pasta, with a filling of tofu and leeks. It was perched on a bed of peppercorns. Then, in a garden of smooth pebbles, there was a black, false stone with a filling of classic cacio e pepe, cheese and pepper, mixed with cocoa butter. Finally, resting on dried leaves, there was a fried olive in the style of ascoli piceno, filled with swordfish and minced tajasca olives. Before I'd even tasted anything, I was staggered by the meticulous creativity of the presentation. Each taste was a marvel in itself. I may have been stressed out from my delay when I arrived, but now I was in a state of serenity. Chef Bonora came out to explain the first course, described as a vegetable carpaccio with watermelon, sea preserves, and capers on the menu. As frantically as I could, I took notes while he elaborated. He called it an illusion of meat. The watermelon had been steamed and then rested to lose all its liquid, then cut very thin and the slices pressed between absorbent paper. Seawater, fermented with balsamic vinegar, preserving it, was then emulsified together with fresh blackberries. I was struggling to keep up with the details. On top, there were capers from Pantelleria and whole fresh blackberries. Everything, as with a meat tartare, had been garnished with lemon and salt. Are you still with me? While I love a good beef tartare, this was one of the most complex tasting things I've ever eaten. Watermelon reloaded, so to speak. Intense and refreshing, surprising and familiar, all at once. Before the next dish, Mauro brought out a red wine, a Monte Tarbato from Cantina San Biagio Vecchio near Faenza in the province of Ravenna, made from 100% Centesimo grapes, a complete discovery for me. Next up was what was described on the menu as a raviolo of century egg with ossobuco and saffron. The chef materialized at my table to give me more information. The century egg had been incorporated into the pasta itself. To this was added a sauce of risotto with saffron and a veal stock reduction. That was all I managed to write down. While it may sound weird, it was again not just original, but irresistibly delicious. To my horror and embarrassment, I discovered I was too full to proceed with the secondo. Mauro had wisely advised that I wait until after this dish to decide whether I wanted a secondo or not. In announcing my decision, I asked for a quick fresh air pause before continuing straight to a dessert. When I returned to my table, the pre-dessert was served. On top of a stick protruding from a tin filled with peppercorns was a round gold-colored chocolate. I was informed that it had a liquid center of passion fruit, and that I should eat it in one entire bite, so that the flavor and liquid could explode in my mouth. I did as told, and enjoyed the rush of passion fruit. Before the actual dessert arrived, Mauro brought me a glass of sauterne from the Domaine de Monteil, who specialize in sauterne. The dessert I'd gone for was called gobi on the menu, described as a mascarpone cremoso with a salted crumble of almonds and cocoa. Chef Bonora made a point of telling me that the rough, uneven stone surface of the plate was important for emphasizing the tactile aspect of the dessert, to which the dessert's name referred. The mascarpone had been made and then fermented by them. The cream also included egg yolks and bergamot. The crumble's almonds were salted, another nod to the dessert. I was so intrigued with getting to the bottom of the dessert crumble and locating the cream beneath that I ate half the dessert before I remembered to film or photograph. Sorry once again. My attention was being required on so many levels that my reporting concentration got mislaid. A dinner of surprises and marvels in every respect. I told Mauro that I want to come back to partake of the full 10-course tasting experience, but that I would see to it that the next time I got there the moment they opened, transport strike or no strike. This time, when I left Serica, there were still no trams or taxis to be seen, but I enjoyed my long walk back to the hotel, treasuring the memories of my wonderful dinner.